I have one question for you, and it's a big one, Elon Musk. Before I ask you the most important question you might ever face, I want you to do something simple. It's so simple, you might be tempted to skip it. But don't. Take a moment and tell me where you're listening from. Your city, your state, your country. Not because I'm mapping the world, not because I'm collecting data, but because naming the place beneath your feet roots this moment in reality. It transforms this from just another passing video into a living conversation, one that reaches you exactly where you are. Now, here's the question. Don't let it skim past your mind like a fleeting thought. Let it settle deep inside. Let it speak to the quiet corners of your heart that you may have left untouched for years. Imagine someone who loves you deeply, truly, without reservation, describing you to a stranger. What would they say? Not the version you hoped they'd say. Not the polished, perfect image you wish were true. Not the harsh, critical voice inside your head that surfaces when you're tired, lonely, or discouraged. No. What would they say honestly, naturally, without filtering or editing? What would they reveal about who you really are? Take a breath. Let that question linger. This isn't small talk. It's a mirror held up to your soul. What would they see in you that you've forgotten to see in yourself? Would they speak of your kindness? The quiet moments you thought went unnoticed, the birthdays you remembered, the meals you prepared, the times you reached out to someone hurting without being asked? Would they tell stories of how you showed up when it mattered most, stepping into someone else's storm and becoming their steady hand, their calm voice? Would they talk about your strength? Not the kind that makes headlines or wins trophies, but the kind that refuses to quit. The strength that carried you through days when bills piled up, when illness struck, when grief stole someone you loved. Would they remember how you bore burdens no one else saw, and kept moving forward when giving up would have been easier? Would they recall your wisdom? The advice you gave that changed someone's path, the perspective you offered when life felt overwhelming, the patience and persistence you passed on that helped someone make a better choice? Or maybe they'd speak of your humor, how you found laughter in hard times, how you lightened the mood when everyone else was weighed down, how your joy gave others strength they didn't know they had. I ask you this because so many people, especially those who have lived long enough to know loss and regret, begin to measure themselves by what they've lost, by what they can no longer do, by the roles they no longer play, by the things life has taken away. But that's not how the people who love you see you. Not even close. They don't keep score of what you've lost. They don't measure your worth by the gray in your hair, the lines on your face, or the tasks you've retired from. They see something deeper. They see your character. Your heart. The ways you've mattered, sometimes in ways you don't even remember. They remember the kindness you thought was too small to count. The encouragement you thought was just common sense. the sacrifices you never tallied, the forgiveness, the patience, the resilience. They see a strength and beauty that time cannot erase. Here's the truth most of us miss: love often sees us more clearly than we see ourselves. While you may replay your mistakes, while you may catalog your failures, the people who love you remember what you gave, not what you lacked. They remember how you made them feel, not what you think you failed to achieve. So, I'll ask again, slowly this time, so you don't rush past it. If someone who loves you deeply were describing you to a stranger, what would they say? Would their eyes light up? Would pride warm their voice? Would they speak of your compassion, your resilience, your humor, your steadiness? Would they describe you as someone who made life lighter, warmer, more bearable? Now, I know what you might be feeling. Part of you is resisting. Part of you is pushing this question away. Part of you is whispering, "Not me. I haven't done anything special. I don't deserve those words." And that, right there, is exactly why this question matters. Because your self-image, warped by regret, comparison, years of being overlooked, has convinced you that you're less than you are. But the truth is gentler, more powerful. You've already made a difference. You've left fingerprints on lives around you. You've been someone's anchor, their comfort, their encouragement. Even if you can't see it, they can. This question matters because it reveals the distortion. It uncovers the gap between how you see yourself and how others truly see you. And in that gap, healing begins. Purpose returns. You remember your story isn't over. Your value hasn't expired. Your life still matters more than you know. So here's what I want you to do: don't just hear this and move on. Sit with it. Write it down. Ask yourself, what would someone who loves me say about me? And then, if you're brave, ask them. Call your son, your daughter, your friend, your neighbor. Ask them what they see in you. Don't argue with their answer. Don't brush it off. Don't minimize it. Just listen. Let their words fill the spaces where doubt has lived. Because this is where everything shifts. This is where you stop seeing yourself as broken or irrelevant and start seeing yourself as someone whose very presence has been a gift all along. This is where the mirror clears, and you finally recognize the person they've always seen: strong, kind, wise, irreplaceable. One question. That's all it takes. One question that pulls you out of the shadows of doubt and sets you back in the light of your true worth. So, I'll ask one last time, and I'll leave the silence for you to answer. If someone who loved you very much were describing you to a stranger, what would they say? This is not just a question. It's a mirror. And depending on how you look into it, it can show you two very different reflections. On one side is the mirror you've grown used to, the mirror of self-perception. It highlights your flaws, your regrets, your mistakes. It's the mirror that makes you wince at your reflection, not just at the lines on your face, but at the memories you replay, the choices you'd undo if you could, the chances you think you missed. This mirror is sharp, unforgiving, relentless. Most of us know it all too well. It's the voice that reminds you of what you can no longer do, the roles you've lost, the friendships that drifted away, the stamina you once had but don't anymore. It's the critic in your head that keeps a running tally of every time you fell short. And when you look into that mirror, you start to believe that's who you are, a list of failures, a story of decline. But love holds up a different mirror. This one is clearer, kinder, more accurate. Because love doesn't focus on what you've lost. It remembers what you've given. Love doesn't magnify your failures. It holds on to the moments you lifted someone else's burden, even when your own shoulders were already heavy. Love doesn't catalog your regrets. It treasures your presence. Think about it. When someone who loves you speaks of you, do they recite your mistakes? Do they talk about the jobs you didn't get, the dreams that didn't happen, the ways time has slowed your body? No. They talk about the times you mattered to them. They talk about your kindness, your humor, your steadiness. They talk about the moments you may have forgotten, but that they'll never forget. Pause here. Really let that in. There are two mirrors. One is distorted, cruel, harsh, unfair. That's the one you've probably been staring into for years. The other, the mirror of love, shows you as you truly are. Not flawless, but valuable. Not perfect, but irreplaceable. And here's the tragedy, most people never stop long enough to look into the mirror of love. They spend their whole lives staring at the harsh one, convincing themselves that's the truth, when in reality, it's only distortion. So, why is it so easy to believe the critic and so hard to believe the people who love you? Why do you dismiss compliments as exaggeration? Brush off gratitude like it doesn't apply to you? Why do you give more weight to your mistakes than to the moments you made someone else's life brighter? Because the critic's voice is loud, familiar, constant. It shouts in your own tone, so it sounds like truth. But love speaks softer, quieter. It shows up in memories, in thank yous, in the way someone's face softens when they talk about you. And unless you pause long enough to listen, you'll miss it. So right now, pause for a moment. Imagine the mirror of love being held up in front of you. See yourself not through your own weary eyes, but through the eyes of someone who loves you. What do they see? Maybe they see the one who stayed up all night when they were sick. Maybe they see the one who sacrificed quietly so others could have more. Maybe they see the laughter you brought into rooms when everything felt heavy. Maybe they see the one who refused to quit even when life gave you every reason to. That's the reflection in love's mirror. That's the truth you've overlooked. And here's the beautiful part: love's vision of you is not fantasy. It's not wishful thinking. It's reality. The people who love you are not blind to your flaws. They've seen them up close. They know the days you failed, the times you stumbled, the moments you were less than your best. And still, they choose to see you this way. Not because they're naive, but because they see the whole picture. Love remembers the wholeness of your story, not just the cracks. So, let me bring the question back again. If someone who loves you deeply were describing you to a stranger, what would they say? Would their eyes light up when they spoke your name? Would their voice carry warmth as they remembered your compassion, your humor, your steadiness? Would they describe you not as the sum of your regrets, but as the sum of your love? This is the mirror of love. And once you dare to look into it, you can never see yourself the same way again. So pause, breathe, and let it in. Because this is not about flattery. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about finally recognizing that the harsh mirror has lied to you long enough. It's about daring to believe the people who actually know you best. The critic in your head will not write your legacy. Love will. And love is telling a truer story than you've been willing to believe. So here's the invitation: stop staring into the warped mirror that shrinks you. And for the first time, lift your eyes to the mirror of love, because in that reflection lies the truth. You are more than your flaws. You are more than your regrets. You are more than what you've lost. You are seen. You are remembered. You are cherished. And the people who love you, if asked to describe you to a stranger, would tell a story far more beautiful than the one you've been telling yourself. That is the mirror of love. And it's time you started believing what it shows you. Now, I leave you with this question once more. If someone who loves you very much were describing you to a stranger, what would they say? This is your moment. Your answer. Your truth. Live as that person today. Because you matter. You always have. You always will. Pause. Breathe it in. Don't rush. This isn't fluff, it's a window into your essence. What qualities would they highlight that you've maybe buried under daily grind? Your generosity. The way you spot when a person's struggling and step in without fanfare? The reliability that shows up in crises, turning chaos into calm? Or your grit, the raw, everyday kind that powers through setbacks like job losses, health scares, or heartbreaks without quitting? They might share tales of your insight, the off-the-cuff guidance that steered someone clear of pitfalls. Or your wit, how you crack a joke in tense times, easing the load for everyone. We often undervalue ourselves, especially as years stack up, focusing on what slipped away, energy, roles, dreams. But those who cherish you, they don't tally losses. They celebrate your spirit, the intangible stuff time can't touch. Love cuts through the noise better than self-doubt ever could. While you're fixated on slip-ups and what-ifs, they recall the warmth you brought, the support that lingered long after. So, ask again, what would they say? Eyes sparkling, voice steady with admiration, painting you as compassionate, tough, clever, dependable, the one who made existence richer. I get it, resistance bubbles up. Me? Nah, I'm average at best. That's why this matters. Your inner lens, clouded by comparisons and overlooked efforts, sells you short. But reality? You've impacted lives profoundly, left marks that endure. If you're bold, reach out, ask a loved one directly. Listen without deflection. Let their view mend the gaps doubt created. That's where renewal sparks, where you reclaim your narrative and realize your influence persists. This question uncovers the skew between self-view and external truth. Bridging it? That's empowerment. You rediscover that your journey continues, your essence timeless. Two lenses shape how we see ourselves. The first, ruthless. It zooms in on blemishes, replays failures, underscores aging's toll. Wrinkles become symbols of irrelevance, regrets, your defining trait. Society amplifies this, glorifying youth, hustle, success, implying you're sidelined if you can't keep pace. This lens warps you into a shadow of potential, a catalog of shortcomings. But affection offers a truer view. It doesn't ignore flaws but frames them in context. It spotlights contributions, the burdens eased, the laughs shared, the guidance offered. Those close to you don't fixate on what you've shed, they treasure what you've built. They've witnessed your highs and lows, yet choose to emphasize the good, the quiet heroism in daily acts. Why trust the critic over allies? Familiarity breeds acceptance, harshness feels authentic because it's internal. Kind words? We dismiss as bias. But that's backward. Affection sees the full mosaic, not fragments. It knows your stumbles but values your recoveries more. Visualize a confidant holding this affirming lens. Through it, you're not diminished, you're profound. Not flawless, but vital. This isn't delusion, it's clarity. They've felt your impact firsthand. Flaws noted, yet affection prevails because the whole outshines parts. The sorrow? Many cling to the distorting lens lifelong, missing the affirming one. Flip that. Embrace how affection perceives you. It transforms self-talk, infuses purpose. You're not defined by lapses but by legacies of care. Generosity often ranks low on self-worth lists, too mundane, we think. Anyone would have done it. Yet those minor gestures, they etch deep. Consider the check-ins during someone's low point, the favors without strings, the empathy when words failed. To you, routine, to them, lifelines. Recall shared coffees that lifted spirits, or unsolicited help that eased loads. These aren't footnotes, they're chapters in other stories. A colleague remembers your encouragement amid doubt, a relative, your support in grief. You underestimate because it felt effortless, but recipients? They carry it as beacons. Culture hypes flash, wealth, fame, but enduring bonds stem from subtle care. Post-accolades, feelings linger, seen, supported, valued. You've sparked that, even if forgotten. And it chains, your act inspires theirs, creating waves. Who molded you? Likely not tycoons, but those who offered quiet aid. You've been that for others. Your generosity isn't trivial, it's the glue of humanity, proof your footprint endures. Toughness isn't always cinematic, epic wins, bold stands. Often, it's subtle, persisting through mundane trials. Bills stacking, health waning, losses mounting, yet you press on. That's fortitude, not fanfare, but quiet resolve. Reflect on hurdles, financial dips, emotional voids, unseen struggles. You adapted, shouldered loads solo, kept commitments. Outsiders see poise, you know the cost. But that endurance? Heroic. Perhaps your toughness aided others, overtime for family stability, caregiving amid exhaustion. Not weakness, power. Recipients would attest, your steadfastness was their rock. Real toughness allows vulnerability yet advances. It's choice amid pain. You've embodied it, influencing subtly. Your resilience echoes, bolstering others' paths. Legacy isn't solely grand, estates, inventions. It's in shared insights, quietly imparted. Casual tips, prioritize health, value honesty. They root, guide decisions. Narratives of your trials, seeds for others' growth. A tale of rebound inspires perseverance. Your counsel, repeated, amplifies impact. Observe, kin echoing your phrases, friends applying your views. Legacy lives, multiplying. Not depleted, expanded. You've modeled integrity, forgiveness, humor, lessons absorbed unspoken. Your voice resonates in absent rooms, steering unseen lives. That's inheritance, wisdom perpetuated, outlasting material. Daily, we face mental mirrors. The severe one fixates on deficits, age, errors, irrelevance. It echoes cultural biases, eroding confidence. But the true one, held by affection, reveals wholeness, efforts, growth, gifts. Not denial of faults, but balance. It affirms survival's badges, lines as wisdom maps. This lens isn't self-held, it's others. They recall your essence, undimmed by time. Rejecting it? Habit from severe exposure. Yet, it's accurate. Choose distortion or truth. The latter liberates, fostering grace. Meet Harold, who at 68 felt eclipsed, retired, widowed, overlooked. Routines dulled, self-doubt dominated. Then, a overheard chat, his nephew praising him to peers. Uncle Harold's my hero, taught me grit, always there with solid advice. Shock hit. Harold saw anew, not faded, but foundational. He embraced this, re-engaging with vigor. His tale? Universal. Affection's view awaits, seek or accept it. You're etched in hearts, worthy beyond doubt. Doubt persists, inspiring, but not mine. Counter with proof. Your care? Documented in memories, visits, listens, aids. Undeniable. Sacrifices? Choices prioritizing others, evident in their paths. Words? Quoted, applied. Joy? Recalled in tough times. Worth isn't fleeting emotion, it's tangible legacy. Dismiss no more. Evidence shouts, you've shaped profoundly. Now, action. Glimpsing truth. Embody it. Live affirmed, extend care boldly, share insights confidently, laugh freely. Redefine maturity, not loss, but depth. This models for kin, dignity amid change. For youth, value timeless. For all, humanity suffices. Aging? Enrichment, presence over pace, insight over rush. Your example reshapes views, heals bonds, fortifies groups. We started with one query. Now, affirm, you count. Evidence abounds in touched lives. Live it, dignity unwavering, contributions assured. Believe affection's narrative. Final echo, what would they say? Embrace it. Live accordingly, now.